Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is one that I have been waiting for like literally since the start of this year, and today's video is none other than a mid-year book tag. Okay, we all know I love my book tags. I love to literally sit and yap about books, like, so any excuse that I get, hey, I'm gonna take it. So that's basically what today's video is. It's just like a bunch of questions, and I'm just gonna talk about some books that I read and answer some questions for you guys. Let's go ahead, let's get right on into today's video. I just really resonated with that. Literally, like, this is me and Connell, okay? Her quotes will just hit you straight like a dagger to the heart. Tend to think that the future happens later, but we're creating it in our minds every day. Hey, so literally me. That book surprised me in the best ways possible. Okay, let's see our first question. The best book you've read so far in 2025. Guys, honestly, I have had the best reading like year so far, honestly. I feel like I'm not reading as many books, but the books that I am reading this year are just like hit after hit after hit, like hit or miss. I guess they never miss, huh? Whoa. Anyways, I just feel like all the books that I've read this year have just been so good. I don't think that I've had anything less than a 3-star read so far. And we are halfway through the year. Like, can we please give it up for me? I think you guys all know what I'm gonna pick. Normal People by Sally Rooney. I get, some people hate this book, some people love this book. I am one of those people that just loves this book. Like, if I had to describe this book in one word. Hello? That was scary. Just gonna close that back and pretend like I'm not terrified now. Anyways, as I was saying, a lot of people like Normal People, a lot of people don't like Normal People. I feel like if I had to describe this book in one word, it would just be situationship. Basically, it's just like, I think over a decade-long situationship between Marianne and Connell. Connell is very popular in high school, Marianne is very unpopular in high school, and then they have this situationship going, but like they're trying to keep it a secret, and then when they go off to college, Connell becomes the very like anxious, quiet one with not a bunch of friends, and then Marianne becomes like the super outgoing person, and then their situationship is still kind of occurring. So it's like an on and off thing. I think that if Connell existed in the real world, like, he would be my twin. I feel like my brain just works the same way that Connell's does. Connell ends up dealing with like major anxiety and depression, and it just struck a chord with me like way heavy. And I just love this book for that in general. And even Marianne, like in the beginning of the book, I felt like I couldn't relate to her much. By the time we got to the end of the book, I was like, wait, I kind of see Marianne. I don't know. I just feel like if you go into this book thinking that it's just a character study, you will enjoy it. But if you go into this book thinking that it's like a cutesy little romance, or if you go into this being like, oh, it'll be perfect, you know what I mean? No, like that's not what this book is. I really want to preface that because I feel like that's the reason why a lot of people don't like this book. It's genuinely my favorite book that I've read so far this year, and I feel like I'll just hold on to this book forever. Like, this book will live on forever in my heart, especially Connell. Like, Connell will live on forever in my heart. Can I find some quotes for you guys? This one says, from a young age, her life has been abnormal. She knows that, but so much is covered over in time now. The way leaves fall and cover a piece of earth and eventually mingle with the soil. Things that happened to her then are buried in the earth of her body. She tries to be a good person, but deep down she knows she is a bad person, corrupted, wrong, and all her efforts to be right, to have the right opinions, to say the right things, these efforts only disguise what is buried inside her, the evil part of herself. Like, I can't do it. They both like basically just come to terms with their mental health, and I felt like that was a very special thing about this book. Okay, this quote is really sweet. It says, he has sincerely wanted to die, but he has never sincerely wanted Marianne to forget about him. That's the only part of himself he wants to protect, the part that exists inside her. This quote is basically like the whole entire point of the book. It says, what they have now, they can never have back again. But for her, the pain of loneliness will be nothing to the pain that she used to feel of being unworthy. He brought her goodness like a gift, and now it belongs to her. Meanwhile, his life opens out before him in all directions at once. They've done a lot of good for each other, really. She thinks, really. People can really change one another. Like, if you view this book as a character study, I feel like you'll just fall in love with it. And I hope that you guys read this book, and I hope you love it as much as I do, because, oh my gosh, I could talk about this book like I will be talking about it in my grave. I'm gonna force all of my friends to read this at some point in my life. So if you're my friend, hey, sorry, you're gonna be forced to read this book at some point. I don't make the rules. Next question is best sequel you've read so far in 2025. I have a very easy answer for this, and I don't think you guys would expect this, honestly, but I'm gonna choose Swift and Saddled for this one. This is part of the Rebel Blue Ranch series, and guys, I do not like small town romances. Absolutely hate it with every ounce of my soul, but this series is like one of the very few exceptions to that rule. I fell in love with it through the first book, and I've just loved it every single book that's gone on. Honestly, I think that Swift and Saddled was my least favorite out of all of the books in the series, but if I'm thinking about the best sequels that I've read so far, I really haven't read that many sequels, so I'm gonna have to choose this book. I just love these two main characters so much in like the first few books. This one I was actually really excited for because I was like, oh, like this is their book. I'm gonna be completely honest, it did fall a little bit flat for me, but in the grand scheme of things, I feel like if I didn't hype it up so much, it would have been like a 5-star read, honestly. This book basically follows Ada and Weston. Ada is like an interior designer and she ends up coming to the ranch to help Weston like renovate it because his dad finally handed him over like this part of the ranch. I don't know, like Weston, seeing him in the other books, I fell in love with him and I fell in love with him more through this book. I do have some quotes because of course I have quotes, okay? Weston, I just feel like I really related to him on like the emotional and like mental health side because he deals with like major depression. I just wish it was talked about a little bit more. But I also know that's not the point of the book. Like the point of the book is like a cutesy little fun romance book. I always just want a book to be a little bit deeper. This quote says, "The other part of it was more personal. It was deep-rooted insecurity that came from having a brain that I sometimes felt like wasn't my own. I'd been diagnosed with major depressive disorder about 5 years ago. At this point, I learned to live with it and I had a regimen. Medication, therapy, physical activity, that worked for me, which meant that things didn't get as dark as they used to. It's why I like to draw too. Drawing helped my brain be kinder to me." I just really resonated with that. Like I genuinely almost made that my wallpaper on my phone. Just the fact that it's like talking about, oh, these are the regimens that work, so I just like keep using that and now I'm just gonna pretend like it doesn't exist anymore because what I'm doing right now is working. Like, yeah. Next quote I want to share says, "But depression wasn't a logical disease. It was an unexpected cold front in the middle of July. It was impossible to predict, which meant that I spent much of my time worrying about when the other shoe was going to drop. Not if, but when I would sink into another dark hole and have to decide to claw my way out of it." Not if, but when? Just living with the constant thought of relapse? Like, yes. I do have one more. It says, "I just didn't know how to have friends, really. I was afraid that if she talked to me for more than 5 minutes, she'd decide she didn't like me as much as she thought she did. I was best in small doses." I was best in small doses? Hey, so literally me. If anybody even cares, hey, so that's literally me. Okay, the next question is new release you haven't read yet, but want to. Great Big Beautiful Life. Never loved an author more than I've loved Emily Henry. She's the author that got me into reading. I am so excited for Great Big Beautiful Life. I know everyone says it like that's like a consensus in the book community. I feel like everybody has been reading that book and I'm trying so hard to wait until it comes out in paperback because I just don't feel right reading a new release on my Kindle. And I also don't want to buy it in hardback because every other Emily Henry book that I own is in paperback. But if I see one more person reading Great Big Beautiful Life in like a reading vlog that I'm watching, you know, like that is the first thing that I will be doing because I have never wanted to read a book more. I look forward to every single year, and I'm not even joking, a new Emily Henry book. It's always around this time of year also. Like I feel like that's the one stagnant like thing in my life that I can always count on. I honestly haven't really heard much about it because every single time I've seen it like on Book Talk or even on book like YouTube, I've tried to scroll past it. I do not want any spoilers, but the only things that I do know about the book is it's two writers who are going basically to write someone's, I believe someone's memoir, and they're basically fighting over who is going to write it. And the older woman who is going to let them write the memoir like hasn't decided which one they want to write the memoir. It's obviously a romance between those two writers, but I'm really excited because I heard it happens like in a small, I believe a small coastal town. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like it's gonna give me like The Last Great American Dynasty vibes by Taylor Swift. Love that song, and I've never been more excited for something in my life. So next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Once again, another very easy answer to a question. Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. Ashley Poston is becoming my favorite author literally ever. I read The 7-Year Slip by her and I fell in love with it. Her writing just feels so lyrical and atmospheric, and I feel like I'm there with her. She has such easily quotable quotes. Her quotes will just hit you straight like a dagger to the heart. Even though like the premise doesn't really sound like something I would normally read, it is a rom-com, but I believe it's between two musicians, which not a musician, okay? That is like, no. Like that's normally not my thing and I normally could care less, but if it's Ashley Poston, like, yes. Like it literally comes out June 17th. I'm filming this video on June 4th. I think this video is gonna go up like June 6th. I have it on my calendar of when the book is coming out. Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston Easy answer to this question. Okay, the last question for this video is, what is the book that surprised you the most this year? I feel like without a doubt it's a book called Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb. Not enough people talk about this book. I literally found this book at a Goodwill. And I also don't know if I ever expressed how much I liked it, but basically the whole idea of the book is that you're following this therapist. One, she ends up needing a therapist, so you're following her life, her therapist's life, and then you're also following like her patients' lives. It's so weird how the story just intertwines itself. Everything about the book I just love so much. Like exploring the patients' lives and seeing what they dealt with. I don't know, I just felt so seen by almost everyone in this book, and I feel like each of the patients that we were following was just like giving me a new life lesson. And I don't know, I feel like if I read a self-help book, it needs to be like that, where I'm like still just following a story. Really great book, and I of course have some quotes to share before I let you guys go. The first quote I want to share says, "Sometimes in their pain, people believe that the agony will last forever, but feelings are actually more like weather systems. They blow in and they blow out. Just because you feel sad this minute or this hour or this day doesn't mean you'll feel that way in 10 minutes or this afternoon or next week. Everything you feel, anxiety, elation, anguish, blows in and out again." Like, self-help book. And another quote I want to share says, "What they eventually discover is that you can't mute one emotion without muting the others. You want to mute the pain, you'll also mute the joy. Joy doesn't come without pain. Happiness doesn't come without sadness. Light doesn't come without dark." Julie was my favorite patient that this therapist had, and I literally could start crying. I love Julie so much, and just the way that she saw the world. She's one of the patients and she actually has cancer, and she literally is just coming to terms with the fact that she's literally going to die soon. The quote says, "It's one thing to accept the end of your own life, as Julie is struggling to do, but for those who keep on living, the idea that they should be getting to acceptance might make them feel worse. I should be past this by now. I don't know why I still cry at random times all these years later. Besides, how can there be an endpoint to love and loss? Do we even want there to be? The price of loving so deeply is feeling so deeply, but it's also a gift, the gift of being alive. If we no longer feel, we should be grieving our own deaths." Another patient recently lamented, "Wouldn't it be nice to be one of those people who doesn't overthink anything, who just goes with the flow, who lives the unexamined life? I remember saying that there was a difference between examining and dwelling, and if we are cut off from our feelings, just skating on the surface, we don't get peace or joy, we get deadness." Oh, this one really hurt, because you guys know I struggle with grief, okay? Like, it's genuinely no secret, and it has never been a secret that I struggle with that. This one says, "Losing somebody you love is such a profoundly lonely experience, something only you endure in your own particular way." Okay everyone, that brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any video recommendations for me, please put them in the comments down below. I feel like I'm stuck with video ideas. Like, I have a list, but none of them seem cool or fun or new or different for me. So if you guys have any ideas, please put them in the comments, and I will see you guys super soon with another video. I'm sorry, I've been slacking. Grief sucks, okay? That's all I'm gonna say, and we're gonna get back into the grind. So I will see you guys super soon. I love you so much. Goodbye.